Okay. Welcome everyone. Oh, right. So yesterday we stopped when we finished the server-side authentication with Google. We did have some bare bones connection running. Let me see if I can get it running again. So we run our API over here on port 8080. I'll restart the client real quick. Reconnect. Here we go. And I believe now if I click on this, it should, it opens it in the wrong browser. Let me just open the right one. There we go. So I click on this unlock thing. I get the sign in. I'm actually gonna sign in now. Need my phone. Just a second. All right. Galaxy. I don't see it though. Okay, and now it asks me afterwards if I want to open Electron. There we go. I see this code coming by here. That's great. And then let's see. Did it do it already? Let's check. If I click on Lala, then we can check the options here. Yes, in the authorization header, we have the code that was sent to us initially. That way the API can know who I am. So it works. But yeah, this still looks very strange. I think what I want to do is first, right now, if you look at the API, what it's doing, like I know how most of the other apps work, like Spotify or Figma. Hey, Harris, good to see you, man. What I'd like to see, by the way, anyone who's joining later or maybe who sees this on YouTube after, whenever I'm live streaming, feel free to join in and ask me questions. I can answer any question about TypeScript or whatever. And yeah, still trying to figure out what my audience wants to see. And until then, I'll just be programming my things. So when I look at this code here, I see some problems, which is that from here, we get redirected to the server that immediately redirects me to this app. And so this thing just stays hovering in some kind of weird state and it doesn't look good. So what we need is this callback, this API Google callback, instead of giving me this response where we just immediately change the location to here, to this thing, no, sorry, this is the wrong one, the other one, this one here. Instead of doing this right head, I know I want to actually render an index page, like render an HTML page that just shows a little bit of something. And this is an old school, like very basic HTML page. And I'm gonna do the redirect, I think, with the client side, like so with a little in between redirect file, so to speak. That's how I can best describe it. So how will I do that? Well, for now, I'm going to keep things very simple. I'm going to call it redirect.html. I'm going to have a normal HTML page. Let me also, I should now be able to go to my Gemini. Let's see, here we go. And say, write a basic hello world HTML5 page. That's great, thank you. So this is, and I'm gonna just call it, I think we agreed on some new name like Shower Singer. Shower Singer. And then I'll just say redirecting. Here we go. Let's open this in a file explorer, and I want to open it here. So there we go. Now we're going to make this page look good. And what I'm going to do as well is, so I'm going to open this, and I'm going to put in the query parameter, I'll put here like something like session equals something. And then I'm going to redirect from here to that to the client. So that's how it's going to be. So I'm going to do it all in very plain HTML CSS. So yeah, let's just get that done. So style, I'm going to hard code the style over here. The HTML body background. I want to have it be the same style as the app, this app. So I'll just take the same kind of background, this grayish background somewhere. I don't remember where exactly I put that stuff. Give me some space. Maybe... No, not here. Definitely in the app then. I don't see anything here though. It's weird. Where do I define that color again? Kind of forgot. I think the index HTML perhaps. Yeah, here. So it's 222. So we'll do the same thing. But now we're gonna do it with the normal way. And you'll see what I mean soon when I'm done with this, like why I'm doing this. Color. I don't know. Let's make this a normal span. And let's also display flex this. Items or justify items center. Align items center. I think that's it, or maybe it's align content. Width 100%, height 100%. Yeah, I think it's the justify is not items, I think, or the align is align content. The thing is, I kind of nowadays think of it, I don't remember the exact names in the CSS because I use so much Tailwind nowadays. That's maybe a little bit of the issue here. Let's see, so justify items, maybe it is justify content center. Yeah, okay, so it's the other way around. So it was justify content, and I do think that align items was correct. Yeah, this is good. Now let's also reset the font family. I guess I will still look at how this one is. Do I ever set that? I actually think I might not set the font. I remember importing it somewhere. Oh, I don't think I've set it yet. I guess I still need to pick a font family. Well, maybe it's good time to do that. Well, actually, for now, to be honest, I don't need to do any of that. It's a bit of a detail thing, so I'll do that another day. I'll, for now, do just sans serif. As long as it's sans serif, I feel like it's good. Like, this is serif, you know, with this little serifs, those little... And then if I now put it like this already looks fine for me. I don't have high requirements for this. My font, let's see, font size, I can just go very small, 12 pixels. Yeah, that's good for me. I mean, this already is kind of okay. It's clean. I should have a logo at some point, but for now, this is fine. And now I'm gonna have to have a script. And with that script, I'm gonna look at the location search, and I'm gonna console log that and see if it loads well. So I'm gonna add like session ID equal session equals ABC, and see, I get it here. I just need to parse it. Now I think I can just use the URL, so new URL, and then put the entire location href in there. There we go. And then I can grab the search out of it. Oh no. Search params, yeah, that's better. So I will do, and this needs to be old school JavaScript. So I'm even going to do with var, like var URL equals new URL, and console log URL.search params get me the session. That should give me the value ABC, perfect. And that will be, and then I want to redirect from here, and then we're already done. So it's not going to be too hard. We're going to say window dot location equals plus this value over here. And that's my redirect. In fact, I can also just put this all into one line. Not the most beautiful line of JavaScript ever written, but it works, I think. So, and we should be able to test this. If I go here, boom, file wants to open this, open it, and ABC is right there. It worked. So, and this should still say loading, right? Why doesn't it say loading? Oh, that's a little interesting. I'm gonna put this script at the bottom to see if that was also why. Yeah, important. Because if you execute it too early, it doesn't even render the page. So this is fine. Now at least it says shower singer and redirects, and it's a little more beautiful. Hey, Satansu. Okay, so great, we've got a redirection working, and now we just need to make sure that instead of going to shower / session ID, we need to go to / well, this is interesting. We don't need to go to anything yet. We just need to read that file and send it. And I don't really want to dynamically read this file. I want to read it once when the server starts up and then never again. So I'm just going to keep it somewhere here. Const redirect HTML equals fs.read file sync. We need to import fs, that's the file system. Read file sync redirect.html. Do I need to still say that I want to have it as a UTF-8? Not sure. Actually, don't think I even need to do that. I just need to send it directly. UTF-8. Very good. So we loaded the HTML, and now instead of sending the redirect like I was originally planning to, actually, wait a minute. I still want that session ABC in there. So instead of doing what I just did, which is getting it from the URL, that would require me to change the URL first, do some kind of redirect. I don't actually want that. I want to immediately send back the response. So this would be the wrong way then. You know what I'm gonna do instead? I'm gonna just use another approach, so not any of this. I'm gonna say here is session underscore ID. I'll just write it like this in capitals, and then I can just replace it here. So I'll say, this is interesting. Replace makes a copy, right? It doesn't change the value itself. Let me read that. So I'm gonna write head 200. We're gonna do the content type to be HTML, text HTML, something like that. And then here we're gonna say, take me the redirect HTML dot replace, and let's read this for a second. Replace this text in a string using regular or search string, yes. But does it actually change the string, or does it only return? Okay, let's ask Gemini. Does the JavaScript method replace return the changed variable, or change it, or also change it in place? Does not change the original string in place. They're immutable. Yeah, okay, thank God. I already thought that, but I had to be sure. Okay, so we take this value session ID and replace that with our actual session ID. Yeah, just this one. And then we send it. Good, very good. So now this file won't be hosted. That's a good thing. I do have to restart my API. Is there any other console log here? Yeah, we'll just have the authorization console log. That's okay for now. So if I go here, I get the Google sign-in. Can't be reached. Why not? Oh, it can't open this file. Oh, I guess because I'm not starting it. When I'm executing this code, I'm executing it from this top folder here. So it tries to look for the redirection file in here, even though it's in source. What I need to do is simply path. I need to get path first of all, and then say path join tier name, and then this index HTML, redirect HTML. This should be the correct path that I want to read. Now I can assume it will always exist, so none of that is an issue, but let's see. So now let's shut this down again and start again from here. Open this. And then it says redirecting and open Electron. So this is great. This is exactly how, well, not exactly, but this is kind of how Spotify does it, or how Figma does it. They have this little redirection page, and you come in here and it immediately tells you how to redirect. And then you open it up. That's good. I do not like that this is still in the URL. I could clear that, but I also don't have to care. No, I'll just leave it for now. Good. So we have done it, and we have now got a nice sign-in. Now I need to think about this a bit more. We want to maybe move these two files away into another file. because I don't want to have my my index.ts kind of full of nonsense. So let's do a little auth.ts and move our two functions there. The sign-in function and the redirect one. There you go. Move that over here and export it. Fetch, yeah, we need to have a bunch of stuff that now is only here. Da, 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 da. Very good. Okay. So yeah, this fake database thing, for now, I think the only place where I need it, well, I need it in both places actually. Maybe I can export it from another file, db.ts. And for now, I'll just do it fake over there. Export. I don't know, something like this. Okay. And then this will just become db if I import it from it. So import db from db. Okay, db. Okay, looking good. Now this one has become much smaller and more easy to handle. Import this from authentication and also this. Okay, great. So I guess we can always do this, but then over here we want to check who you are. And if we don't find your user, then we're gonna throw you out. So I'm gonna say db there you go. And if we can't find db.users, no, sorry, db.sessions, and then we put in the request headers authorization. If there is no session, then we're gonna return an error as well. Oh, for now, I moved that error over here. Yeah. This is kind of more global, I guess. Maybe I'll make like a little utility, utils.ts or something. Export an error from there. And then just import it everywhere we need it from utils. Same thing here, we'll say return error. For now, I don't have much interest in explaining to the user what the error is because, I mean, we don't have any users. I'm the only user. I just want things to work, and then slowly, step by step, we're going to improve things. I find that to be generally always a good approach for when you're building things. Like, keep in mind that you're not trying to build perfection right away. It goes in steps, and you need to prove your point first, prove your concept, get stuff demoed, get stuff, make it for the right phase. And I see a lot of programmers do this, and the best way I can describe it is that imagine that you're building a skyscraper, and you know, you're 2 months into the construction of the skyscraper. It's going to take 2, 3 years. I don't know. And you're 2 months into it, and you see a guy who's over there wiping the floor, like, or maybe he starts painting, painting a brick or something, even though some entire walls are missing, the lift is not installed. Like, we are on the first floor out of 51 floors. You know what I mean? Like this, it just makes no sense to lose yourself and do things that um, you know, will eventually need to get done, but you have to do them at the right time when things are ready for it, when you're at the right phase. If you do them too early, you risk, you know, you risk making it ugly anyway or not applying the solution properly. Like, for instance, you have to paint every single wall of the skyscraper, right? If only 1/3 of the walls are set in and you're going to paint them, you might later forget when you've built the other walls. You might later say, oh, which ones do I now need to paint still, right? And you need to go check every wall, see if they're painted or not. So there's many examples like this, like where it just gives you more work to do the wrong level of detail at the wrong time. So for now, for me, giving the correct error message is not part of my current job, right? Like our API is barely working, right? Out of all the responsibilities the API has, it's not even fulfilling one completely right now, right? The API needs a lot more work. So we're going to do things step by step, and we're not going to lose ourselves in stupid shit like good error messaging. An error is an error. I'll figure out myself where the error was once I get the problem. Yeah, it's a bit more work, it's a bit more painful, and in the future it'd be nice to have good error messages, but for now this is good. Okay, so my redirect is working. I've split my database into some things. Oh, and here I still have the explanation that I gave last stream about promises. So promise is an interesting thing where a promise is just like the English word. You promise that something will come, but you just don't know when. In JavaScript, you just don't know when you give a promise. And a promise can wait for a while until it resolves. So here you can see my example where I create a promise, and let's look at what this looks like, right? So this thing itself is a function, sometimes called an executor. So let me just put that separate so you can see what I mean. Here, I'll even put it below it. Function executor. There we go. And I'm just gonna put this here to make it very clear. Let's see, what does the promise say? This is a promise like, oh, come on, there's no good thing for it. Just trying to find a type that I can use for the executor. Normally I don't need to do this kind of stuff, but I just want to explain it. No, it's not. I can't quickly see it. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We'll just give it any, both of them. Shut up. I mean, these are functions, obviously, because I'm executing them here. But so you create a promise, and this is a manual way of doing it by saying new promise. But if I, for instance, use the fetch URL, like fetch, you know, https my file.json, whatever, and that also normally returns a promise, because it doesn't know how long it'll take to download this file from the internet, right? So, but I've done new promise here as a fake version of talking to the server, and I actually immediately give it back. Right, here's your string, brother. I resolved that. Anyway, but let's ignore this. So let's just literally assume like this is just talking to the server, right? So we don't have to actually understand it. All we need to know is that it returns a promise. And then the question is, how do you deal with a promise? And there's two ways to do it. The old way is where you say after the promise comes back, you say .then, and then you know, give a function to this then function. that's going to handle the promise. So here comes the result of that promise, and then you can give it to the next one. You can talk to the server again using that result, or do something else, like some asynchronous thing. And asynchronous, right, let's think about that, what that means, right? Synchronous means in a row, like synchronously, like 1, 2, 3, like first 1 happens, then 2 happens, then 3 happens, and 4 happens. That would be synchronous in a row, which means that when I execute the first talk to the server, like for instance in this example, I talk here, then it waits until it executes the second. So I'm taking this asynchronous function, this function that doesn't know how long it will take, and I'm actually going to make it wait until I talk to the server, to another server again with the other result. So this waiting turns asynchronous functions into synchronous operations, right? Because I'm purposefully going to wait. But in JavaScript, this does mean that the JavaScript execution is not synchronous anymore, because it's not executing everything all at once until it's done. Like normally, even if I write a lot of JavaScript, right, and I never use an await or an async, I just write a lot of JavaScript. I don't use any set timeouts, I don't use any fetches, I don't do anything that requires the computer to wait for a response or for an event. Then it's going to take all the code that you've given it and execute it all at once synchronously in a row on the CPU, right? That's what it's going to do. But when you have to wait for something, you can't have the CPU wait. So what JavaScript will do instead, it'll say to the CPU, okay, like basically, thank you for executing this synchronous shit. Now I'm going to have some asynchronous stuff. So I'm going to wait, and when I get an answer back from that asynchronous process, I'm going to again send you a bunch of code to execute. So it's giving your computer a break. It's basically saying like, you know, you can wait. And this is why sometimes, I don't know if you've ever seen this in your code, but some programmers sometimes add a bit of this. There, a set timeout with 0 as the timing. And you can ask yourself, why would you say this, right? If I say console log 1 here, then console log 2 here, and then console log 3 here, how do you think this executes, right? Let's actually scrap all of this, put it like that, and then I'm gonna restart this thing. Oh, this is the client. Let me kill this thing. npx, let's go to the source, npx tsx promises 132, even though I said that it can time out for a length of 0, right? So 0 means no time, right? So you don't need to wait. But what you have to understand is that this function is executed asynchronously. It's executed out of sync from the rest of the code, while console log 1 and 3 are still part of this initial piece of code we sent to the CPU. That's right. The timeout will resolve afterwards. And so because you're telling the scheduler, go schedule this second piece of code that I want to execute, right? This function. And then even if it schedules it right after, it is still a different schedule. Like it's still a different tick, so to speak. And that's what makes it asynchronous. So what you can do, and what I often have done, is you turn things like this into promises. So if I'm in an async function, so here I'm going to make a function, async function, that executes right away. There you go. An async function that executes itself right away. And why I did that async over here is because now I can use await. And then I'm going to take this thing and say, I'm going to call it function timeout. And here I'm going to return a new promise, resolve. There we go. And then here we could do my function. I'm gonna just say any for a moment. There we go. And then why are you not happy? Did you forget to include void in type argument promise? Why do you care? There you go. So I now set a timeout of 0. Actually, I could add that here. Timeout. And then I add that over here. So this is a lot of code and it's not very clean. But I'm just going to show you something that I promisified it, right? So yeah, this is good now. Yeah. Okay, so now I can do await timeout and then give my function console log to 0. So this is the same thing I just did before, but now I'm doing it with this await because I wrapped my set timeout into a promise. So this is something called promisify. Now it used to be promisify that npm had this, okay, in Node.js even. It has this utility function for this, where you can promisify things. Promisify. Does it still exist? I guess so. Takes a function following the common error first callback style. So error first and then the value. And this is the example they give. They say promisify fstat and then you can start using await. So how can I explain this? It's a bit hard to read, but promisify is very cool. So, and I think I can even just use it now as an example. So, but the error has to be first. In Node.js, they have this special way of writing that. But let's try it out. So this comes from util. Import promisify from the util. Let's see. Const timeout equals promisify function. Shit. How do I do this? Because I think I need to give a callback where error is first and the result is unknown. So error. I don't think I'm gonna be good at explaining what I'm doing here. Oh, that's the callback. Yeah, okay. Man, we're so deep into it because this promisify function normally takes the callback as the last value. So this is wrong, and I'm also going to write it in the ES6 way to make it a little cleaner. So this would be my initial value, whatever I'm going to ask normally. So timeout usually, again, takes some kind of function that I want to execute. Then it takes a... but that's the callback function. So it does the error first, but... So what do you want to give? You want to say how long you need to wait, right? That's usually what you want to say first. So I'm going to say timeout first, that's a number. Then the function afterwards, which would be the callback, I'm going to call that the callback, CB. And then we're going to have here the error first, and then the result, any. There we go. And whatever, void, that doesn't matter. Okay, and now what I could do is I can execute the callback when I'm ready. So set timeout, callback, timeout. I think that should be good. Why is this one not happy? Yeah, okay, because I need to CB. Yeah, I never have an error, so I'm just going to say null there. And the result, yeah, in this case, I guess that's what you want to execute. I'm not gonna have any result. I'm not gonna say anything. Look, it's not needed. So I'm just gonna say null over here. There we go. Now I promisified the initial function. So I've taken my set timeout and I've promisified it. In fact, could you even just give the set timeout immediately here? Promisify. No, because the problem with set timeout is that the order is wrong. Like it doesn't have the callback at the end. The last argument is the timeout. Oh well, it's hard to explain, guys. I think I'm not doing a great job here at explaining how this works. But Promisify is a way that you can turn things from yeah, the old way to the new way with async. Okay, I'm gonna be right back, and then we're gonna continue with the authentication. All right, we're back. Let's just ignore all this promises bullshit and just build some apps. Because all those details, I think I'll just do it when a user actually asks, when some viewer asks, because else I'm not sure if any of you is waiting for a long description about these things. It can get a little complicated. So I'll just take it on the right timing. And then I'm gonna probably have to talk about it a lot more to really find a way to explain it properly. Because I'm not really a teacher, right? I'm just a guy who does this professionally, so programming itself, not teaching. So yeah, we're gonna have to just do it often to eventually find the right way to explain all these concepts. And we'll do it step by step. Okay, so I'm actually wondering this session, if there's no session, there's an error, but I want to know the session anyway, so console log the session. There we go. Then let's start all these things. Start this client. Oh, and also start. Does it still run? No, it already crashed, so I need to restart this. Close that. That's weird that it didn't even start. Oh, right. Yeah, so now it never starts artist and tracks because it you don't have a session, obviously. So it doesn't want to send you any data. We're gonna handle the situation because you need to sign in first to make use of the app. So in a way, this is not a bug. Let's try this. That worked. And now if I do this, there we go. We know who the session is. So that's good. And then we can even send, so let's also send them the session. And also let's get that user. If there is no session, then there's an error. Then the const user, which should always work, is if you go to the database.users and then get out the session.user. That should be our user. And then we know everything there is to know. And we're going to send you all of that when you load the app. Yeah. That's good. So now we can do what I really wanted to do, which is build the UI around the sign in. We're going to have a sign in with Google button, because right now I put it like weird over there. That's not the right place. So let's do a little bit of UI work. Yeah, I'm gonna not have this log symbol. Just throw that away. And then let's think about this. This is the track list and the player. All of these things I want to show only when you're authenticated. How do I know if I'm authenticated? Well, I guess in the beginning I make a request and then I need to know whether that worked or not, or what the response was. So, and now this becomes kind of useful for the people who understand, like this load is a, currently it's a void. So let's change that. That needs to become a, it needs to return a promise. So we're going to make it an async function. And then I'm going to await, const raw is await this fetch. So now I'm rewriting it in the modern way. There we go, much cleaner. And then again, I'm going to await the responses here, which is, well, this is interesting. If it's an error, then this wouldn't even be JSON, right? So we need to check already here. If the raw.status was not 200, then I already know something went wrong. So then I'm going to say return null. There we go. We're just going to return nothing. And else we will get everything out, like the user, the session, track, and the artists. And we're going to put all of that here. Now, currently this doesn't exist. So let me go to the store to add it. Use store. Go to the state first. I want to know who the user is. Do I have a type for that yet? I have Google user, yes, but that's not the user. That's different. So I guess I don't have a user yet. Export type user, ID, name, email, picture. That's a good start. That's going to be my user. And I'm going to also store it the way I store all the other stuff, like this, users, ID, user. There, so the user just gets stored as an object, a greater object like this. And the session is going to be just a session, which I still need to define. Export, so export session. ID is an ID, and the user is an ID. Later I'm going to add when the session is created, maybe where it's created, the IP address. I mean, you could do so much stuff, but for now I just do the bare minimum. Just get me the connection between the ID of the session and the user that it connects to, and that's all. So that's good. Now we've got session, we've got user. Now over here, I need to explain also that session could be null, so null or session. And then here, same thing. I'm going to add session, null, users, empty object, and that should be fine. Yeah. So now user doesn't exist but I'm also not going to send it that way. I'm going to go to my server and send everything. Where are we? Normally I respond with, I'm going to say users, and I'm also just going to send all the users. Why not? I mean, again, this is not what you would normally do, because now you're sending everyone's email address to the client, right? You might not want to do that, but I'm happy to do it for now. Security is again something we'll do later after this thing works locally, but it's definitely something we should not forget doing. But I won't. Okay, so users tracks session and artists. So let's put the session at the end because it's kind of a different kind of thing. Okay, good. We're happy with that. Then users will come from here and users will go into there. Done. And now we have this load function. We can go back to where I started, but now when I hover over this, you can see it promises something. We don't know what it promises. But within this use effect, I can't make this an async function because the return value of this use effect has to be a cleanup function, not a promise. So I can't do that. So I can't use await. So I have to do the old style of saying then, right? So, and then we get this function here that I can provide. So the result will come into here. Now, I only need to know this result. Actually, let's look again at what I do here. Here I return null. And what I will do here is maybe... you know what I can do? I can say this is the body. Just provide that body immediately. And then also return body there. That way, this is a little better, easier to write. It's also harder to see what's being injected here, but I think it's fine. So now I know that result will be there if we were signed in, but if we were not signed in, then this will not be there. But wait a minute, I can now also just check the session. So I don't need to do this anymore. Even though I'll keep it because it's a better way of programming, I don't need to do that over here anymore. I just execute the load and then the store will change. So that's much easier. So session will be there or not, right? Depending on. So again, we'll put all this code in there. There. And now I can see if we have a session, we will show all this stuff, right? So session. Then I'm going to show all of these things that I normally show. And then the opposite, if there is no session, then we're going to show the sign in button. Now, sign in with Google. I do want to show that nice sign in with Google thing. Sign in with Google SVG. There must be an SVG file that I can take. I mean, this looks fine. I want this, but I want this to be an SVG. Is it? Yes, it is. That's great. And then they add a bunch of styling, but I'm going to do that custom. So, take this over here, and I just want to shove it like that. Sign in with Google. Sign in with Google. Now this is going to be the wrong, so this is display block. That doesn't matter. I can remove that. And I think there's ways to rewrite this. Let me actually see if our dear Gemini can rewrite this for us. Gemini, please rewrite the following raw SVG code into React or into JSX, into a JSX version. Absolutely. Okay. All right, I believe you. It looks good, at least. Okay. And this style, I will now do it with class name instead. I don't think you even need to say this, to be honest. And I probably also wanted flex, but okay. Okay, good. Boing. Hey man, sign in with Google. Please. I love it. This is great. It's like, I don't think I need to do anything anymore, but okay, okay. Width 20, height 20. Let's do that. Should that be fine? Is that enough? Yeah, that's fine. Okay, and then class name here. We're gonna also style it visually just based on what I can see. It's about the same, so we're gonna stick to the same styling probably. Let's see what color these things are. The color is this. Roboto, yeah, I'm fine just sticking to sans serif. I'll do that another time. I mean, I could do Roboto too, like throughout the whole app, make it Roboto. Let's do that, but let's see, font source Roboto. I'm gonna use font source to install this. Save the font. And then I can just say font family Roboto on the body. So that for me is the index HTML. Oh, it's still called Hello World. I'm gonna rename it to Shower Singer Font Roboto. Oh. I think I need to do something like family. Tailwind font family Roboto. I think I need to add it in my config. Yeah, it only does sans and serif and mono. And so I need to customize it and add it to my theme. So module exports tailwind config. Do I have a tailwind config? Yes. I need to add it to the theme. Not to the extent, that's interesting. So font, sorry, what was it again? Font family, of course, family. And then I'll add my own Roboto, which is, oh, that's interesting. Yeah, okay, you need to give it as an array, so we'll do, first of all, it's just Roboto, I think, and then the second will be sans serif. Something like that. It takes Roboto when it's installed on the system or it's loaded, and it will take sans serif, so no serifs, like if Roboto isn't there, like it's a backup. But Roboto should always be there because I'm going to import it, but we'll see. So now this should allow me to write font Roboto. Yeah, it does. So that puts that style correctly on the body, and that should solve everything for us. And then in the app.tsx, I guess I will put an import the way that font source wanted it. And I can just import it like that. And that should be everything I need to do to get the font Roboto started. Okay, so, and this button itself, I'm gonna actually export separately. I'm gonna put that over here. const sign in with Google equals, and now I should be able to just use that here and say sign in with Google. That makes it a little cleaner to read over here, and I just kind of moved it down. But when you click it, that's when you need to do the same thing I did before, which was the Google redirect. Yeah. So we will move that as well, Electron. And I'll say over here, on click equals Electron. Yeah, there we go. Good, more class names. We need a cursor pointer, of course. We need a background that is the way that they did it over here. What is this color? I keep looking for this color and not finding it. Why? Here, background color, white. Very intense about that. BG white then, sure. And then border and a border. First one is just to say that the border should be 1 pixel, and the second is the color. This does the border width. Yeah, if you just write border, it makes a border 1. Rounded is 4. I think that's SM. No, MD. It's just a normal rounded. That's 4. So again, I can read that. I have the extension installed, so I can just quickly read this is 4 pixels. And that's the same value as the one I saw over here for 4 pixels. So I'm trying to create exactly the same font size 14. That's text 14 pixels, but I think, is that SM? Yeah, that's SM, text SM. Roboto, but that's already applied to everything, so that's okay. And then if you hover, what happens if you hover? There's a box shadow that gets added. Yeah, that's not that special to me. I will do something like hover. I'm actually just going to make it a little darker by making the background color a little less visible. Something like that. That's okay for me. Let's now start npm start again. See if the font loaded properly, hopefully. Okay, that's good. I'm very happy with that. Now I just want to make it a flex. Put the items in the center, add some horizontal padding. Ooh, the height needs to be, what is the height? 38. Well, that's going to be 40 then. Great, and then the distance between this, let's say MR2. Yeah, now it's starting to look pretty good. And now all I need to do is this sign in button needs to have some styling on the outside here. Let's see, where should we put this? I guess we should put it right in the center. I'm thinking actually that this color is a bit, is there not a dark mode? Maybe we should try the dark mode, because it's starting to look a little bad. Like, what is the dark mode? The dark mode is, oh, they don't show it because they don't give the SVG. Yeah, I don't need to get the SVG, I just need to know the color. So I'm gonna go to styles, color red, and then I just use the color picker. It's not always exactly precise, but it doesn't need to be. So we're just gonna hover over an empty area, take this code, and that will be our background. See what that looks like. And again, when I hover, what do? I will say, let's make it black when you hover, right? Just gonna try this out. Yeah, that looks good. Now, what is the border? The border has changed also. Fortunately, that's gonna be very hard to pick. Let me just make it always black. I'm not gonna endlessly spend my time doing this stuff. I just want to move on. The font color though, yeah, again, because I don't have the nice version that I can easily see. Oh, here. Oh, that doesn't do anything. Okay, well, fuck it. Let's just do our own styling then. Sorry, Google. I know you're not happy when I do that, but you know, we gotta move on. You didn't give me the SVG version. That's not my fault. 50, whatever. A soft color. And also, I feel like the text is bold. Font bold. Or maybe semi-bold. Ooh, yeah, semi-bold. It's still kind of dirty, to be honest. Maybe 500. Does this work? Is that like a thickness? No. Medium. I guess that's the best word for it. But it doesn't register it. I don't think it properly loaded it. Well, then semi-bold at least. It's not as beautiful, but it's better than nothing, I guess. Okay. And then the sign-in button, we're going to put it in the center. Hey, Oscar. So we're going to put flex as well, item center, justify center. Everything is now centered. The width is full and we put it on a grow. Let's see if this actually, yeah, now it's at least exactly in the center. And then we can increase the size a little bit. I did a px of 2. I don't think that's enough, maybe 4. Yeah, 4 seems fine. Look, it's not the most beautiful button I've ever made, and I feel like it's so... This text is so dirty. But I really did load in the right font, right? Like, computed. Roboto sans serif, that's good. Well, I don't know how to make this sharper. I think wasn't there like a WebKit sharpen? Gemini, help me out here. WebKit, how can I sharpen the text when rendering with WebKit? I think WebKit browsers will do that the same way. I have no idea if it's going to work, but let's just add it and see what happens. Yeah, I guess it's a little sharper, maybe. Maybe. I don't... Did I import everything? I think if you just import this... Okay, maybe it just only did 400. Defaults to weight 400, so then I would need to add every single value that I also want to add. I think that's probably it. So I've got 400. Maybe that's also not too clean. So I will add 400, 500, 600. And I want to know tailwinds bold. Is that 700? Let's see. Yeah, bold is 700, extra bold 800. I don't think I'll go above 700. So this should be everything I want. And then I'm gonna go back and put it on medium, because I think medium is really all I want. Add. Medium. Shit. Failed to resolve 600. Okay, but that's the first one I didn't import. Let's see. Maybe I need to check node modules myself and see which ones. Let's see, font source, Roboto. Yeah, it doesn't have 600. It goes from 500 to 700. That's weird. It's like it doesn't have semi-bold. Yeah, it doesn't have semi-bold, I guess. That's fine. I only wanted to use medium. Ah, see, now this looks way better, right? Definitely. Way sharper, easier to read. This is great. Very good. Okay, good. The app has a sign-in. Look how clean that is. I mean, I like that. Okay, let's test it out. So we go here, boom. And then it says redirecting here, easy, and we're signed in. There. What is it saying here? It's always saying some bullshit here. Transform, plugin context, transform. I need to clean that up. Okay, but what do we do? So after I come back and the session has been set, I need to know that and make a request to the server. I'm guessing. Can't I just reload the app? That's way better, right? Just reload the app, restart it. Yeah, I think that's way easier. I mean, I could, you know, hook up an event and send a message from the other side and do all this code, but you know, I just want the app to restart and then I'll again make the same request automatically. So that's way easier. So let's do that. And how do we do that? Well, in the client, I do know, I think I can control that over here in the main file. Source main. Let's see what happens here. If I do Google redirect is when I go out, but when I come back here, I do sign in. So that's interesting. I set the default session and request, and then over here, I guess I want to do the same thing that I normally do when I start up the main window. I load the URL. I do that here. Yeah. I do that over here. I think that should reload it. Okay, let's do it. Doesn't do anything. Let's restart. But I really need to clean out all those errors from Electron. Okay, good. Sign in. Open Electron. No. That is a bit strange because I do a new request, right? It looked like I was doing a new request. Oh, actually, yes, I am. But only the artist and the tracks comes through. Oh, so maybe this is just still the old server. Because I already rewrote the server to send me way more stuff. So let's restart the server. I think that was the issue. It was a different kind of problem. Let's see if it restarts it again when I come back here. No. That's also a little strange. Like, why wouldn't it execute again? Got some bugs over here. See, I have to... Then it works. So it's not too bad, but... Okay, it is a bit buggy. It is a little bit buggy. Even though I don't know if that bug is realistic, because it's like you have to have the first one fail. Oh well. Let's look at this error for a second here, because I don't get happy with all these random errors. Request autofill enabled failed. Electron. Come on, stop giving me this nonsense. Yeah, it doesn't seem to affect usage. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I just don't want to see it. I had a button with an inline on-click event assigned to it. Okay, go to the end. Same here. This issue was fixed in Quasar. Just create a new line and saw the error too. Comment out the following line. Main window weapons open DevTools. Yeah, I mean... Okay, so the error doesn't happen if I don't have DevTools open, but... Yeah, okay. And this guy over here points back to this issue here. So, totally useless. Well, I mean, maybe I could even just be without DevTools for a while. Okay, let's just leave it then. It's a DevTools thing. Frustrating, but I'm not going to waste my time further. I've already wasted a lot of time. Okay, so we've got the sign in. I know who the user is. I have it in my memory. So this is a good start. I can even now show who the user is over here when they're signed in. So I'm thinking about doing a opening a left side here where you can create playlists. There needs to be some kind of menuing, and then I can put on the top of that your profile. So let's do that. Let's go to the client, let's go to the app, and let's look over here. So we have the track list, the detail, and the queue, and then I'm going to put here, optionally, the, I'm going to call it, I guess it's a navigation bar. Navigation, menu. Let's just call it menu, maybe. So we're going to make a new file here, menu tsx. Export default function. Menu, no arguments, that's fine. Return a div class name. Let's give it a standard width. Menu. Import it. Oh, oops. There we go. It's fine. Now, I want it to be the same width as probably the detail, which is a width of 52. In fact, this entire thing seems fine. Let's take it. There, menu is good. And now we want to also get some use store. So I want to know who the users are and what the current session is. Use store. Here comes my users and session. And I'm returning the users and the session. Just like I always do. And then my... So, oh, by the way, because we're working with the React compiler, I'm supposed to not have to write any more use callbacks or use memo. Although, yesterday we found out that there might be a bug in that, and it might actually not be doing the right thing for me, and I don't really understand why. But my load function was executing all the time based on a variable, the function load, that was apparently being reinterpreted every event cycle, every React life cycle. So I'm going to fix that eventually, but for now I am going to continue writing without, and I'll solve that bug later. Normally, again, if you're using not the absolute latest release candidate version of React, which is React 19, then you want to use a memo here and callbacks. Is this the latest React? Yeah, this is 19, and 19 is a release candidate. It's not a stable release. So if you look over here, we have React. So the types are still 18, but that's just the types. They don't have a 19 yet. But React is 19. And you can see with RC, that's the released candidate version. React and React DOM. So pretty dangerous to be using something like this. But yeah, I did it because I really am interested in what they're going to do with the React compiler, which is React compiler. They have something new under construction, but it's really cool once this works. Yes, yes. Someone in the chat is asking, could you get Vita plus React for React 19? And that's what I did. And in fact, their notes in this file talk about it. So they say, here's for Babel and here's for Vita. And I already committed this. So you can go to the code for this, this broadcast. You can go to the GitHub, my GitHub, and download the code I'm working on right now, and you would have the same for Babel at least. So you can see if I search for this, I have it over here. I import React with the Vita.js plugin, and I have here in the plugins React, Babel, and add a Babel plugin for the React compiler. So yeah, but again, I've noticed some issues. So far, everything works fine, but yeah, like I said, that load function was constantly executing, and it was supposed to be, you know, I was hoping that that would never happen, right? I had a load function here, and I had to put a callback around it because else it would just constantly be executing, which is of course a very bad thing. So very sad, very sad. I was hoping that this wouldn't happen. And I actually thought everything was fine and not breaking. You know, maybe I could even check it in places where I used to do use. Hey, let's check it now, right? Let's do this. Let's say I'm gonna make a. Well, in this case, it's a bit different because this is not even a function. But let's test it out. Test it out. So let's say user session. This is I'm gonna have the user. I want to know who the user is. So I'm gonna have a self-executing function. That's going to take the users and then take the session.user out of it. Now, I'm curious to know how often this log executes. Because theoretically, this should only execute if users changes or if the session user changes, right? And if this React compiler would know what it's doing, then it should only do that when that happens. So we'll see user.name. So I'm rendering the username. Let's go to the console log. Yeah, so you can see it's not working. Very sad. That's really bad too, like for performance. And it's sad because I removed every single use memo from the app to test everything. And it looked good back then, but maybe something went wrong. Maybe there's something I don't understand because it should be doing it. But yeah, let me do it the right way then, because yeah, it's not doing it. The React compiler is not doing what it said it would do, which is to intelligently memoize everything, right? So it's like doing what I'm now going to do myself manually. That's what the React compiler is supposed to do. So now this is how it's supposed to be, where it actually, you know, protects this, and I can actually move this into a single function that doesn't even do this. There. That's how it's supposed to be. And if I now, well, actually, let's put it back for a second because I just wanted to put a console log here. Because this should no longer do that, what we just saw. Oh, so this means the users is constantly changing, or the session user is constantly being changed, which is also bad. So why is that then? Because this is using use store. Oh, that's painful. Okay, so first of all, let's slowly work our way down. Wait, now this doesn't make any sense. This is a use memo with nothing in the dependency array, and somehow it is still re-executing it all the time. Failed to fetch. Let's fix this error first. This is an issue with our API that is not responding properly. Ah, right. So this error does need to use the same headers function when it returns the error. Because sometimes, so I will actually also change it to a JSON response. I'm just going to fix this real quick, as else I'm going to get these errors, even though this should not happen, because nothing is going wrong here. We're just trying to do a load without having any session ID. So that should not actually be a real error. I'm going to move headers to here. Because it is a good utility anyway. Let's leave this error for now. This does plain text, so again, it will be very annoying, but I should not use the error at all over here. Let's import this. Again, if there is no session, that's not an error. Everything is fine. So we're just going to say the same thing as we always do. Oh, we actually have already done it. We've already written the head of 200. That's actually not correct, because we should not return the headers when we don't know yet. It might still give an error over here. But once we are past here, we know that we're never going to give an error. Everything's always going to be good. But in this case, we're going to just immediately end and give like an empty object as a response. That's fine, I guess. Actually, that's interesting now that I'm thinking about that, because I still want to return, but we're not updating the session, so it's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna keep it like this. This is good. Now we should no longer see that error over there. And I need to restart my server. Okay, that's good. Now we can go back to solving that other issue. Yes, the use memo should only run when the dependency changed, but we already just now saw that it was changing all the time, which is really weird and should never happen. So that is very strange to me. Really strange. Kind of sad. Like, I think it's just broken. I think I need to go away from React 19 now. Or I need to somehow debug it. But the performance of our app is now in the dumpster. I mean, I can already hear my CPU going crazy. So, I mean, the cooling fan goes on when I turn on this simple app. So yeah, I do think updating to React 19 messed it up. But it's probably because I did something wrong. I mean, because they said that they use this in production already. It's not yet fully ready for production, but they said that it has been used in production at companies like Meta. So, you know, let's run this, checking compatibility. I mean, they're totally happy. It's compiled 7 out of 7 components. Its strict mode is found. There's no incompatible libraries. Like, this basically indicates that I did a great job and everything is fine. But I doubt that. And if you have no dependency array, how could you possibly require a constant restart here. I think we need to downgrade. React compiler, use memoization failing. I have no idea what I did wrong. You know what? Sorry, React developers, but I don't trust right now that everything is going to be fine. I've lost my trust, which is very sad. Because I was so happy using 19 and I was looking forward to it. But if it doesn't work, you know, the issue is that other people might be downloading this code eventually, and you know, I want things to work optimally. I want memos to be executed properly, so I can't just take this risk. So I'm gonna downgrade back to the standard version, the version everyone should be using. And yeah, the release candidates, even if they say they use it in production for some apps in Meta, I don't know what you did to make it work. I don't have access to your developers. I don't see an easy way to immediately solve this problem. So yeah, we're just gonna downgrade. Really sad, really sad. Oh well, I want the Vita plugin for React, but I want the SWC version because it's way faster. And I had to actually take that away because I was gonna use I used the Babel compiler. But now I don't want Babel anymore. In fact, there should be no more Babel here. No, there isn't. So I'm going to go back to my renderer where I have this config, I think, React, and update it to this. Beta plugin React. I'm going to take this away. And then npm I save dev that one. Because this one is based on Rust, which is nicer, faster. I think if you even go there, it says like it's 20 times faster than Babel. So that's great. That's what I want to see. Okay. I also remember that when I was doing this this configuration for Babel, let's first turn this off. I had to do the hot restart. I had to fuck up the hot restart pretty hard because it wasn't working. So I had to configure it a bit differently to always completely reboot, which I now no longer need to do. So I think I can leave it here. Where did I do that? Oh, it was in the base, I think. Shit, I think I did something here. I think this handle update I need to delete. I'm doing this all a little bit out of memory, so that's a bit strange, but yeah, okay. Let's leave it like this, and let's run again npm I and start again. And now I need to go over everything and put my memos back and callbacks. So things like this, use callback. That's good. The use effects are still good. And things like this would be a great example of a use memo, where you want to use a memo. And then everything, every variable you use inside, you want to just put on the outside over here. That will massively optimize the performance of everything. Although I have to say that the functions I've written so far have not been really expensive. Oh, but this is the file where all my stuff is very, like, all of this combined gets really expensive. Use memo. Muted. Volume progress. That's it. Oh, inside of here, this use player, that one I need to really optimize. Let's do that soon. Let's first go over everything else here. Skip2 is a use callback. It actually already took me quite some time to remove everything before, and now I need to add everything back, so it's a little bit of an annoying thing to do. Q, I use updates, I use... That's it, right? Yeah. Just the Q and the update, I think. Track lists. Look, this one, for instance, is a very expensive one. You can imagine that tracks is quite large, and then I turn that into an array, right? And I do that over and over and over again. Every time it recycles. So I really require the memorization there. But yeah, the React compiler wasn't doing that properly, sadly. I should have tested it better also when I initially did that work. I just kind of assumed it would work if the app didn't immediately crash, but I guess I underestimated the ability of my computer to run very bad code. Apparently my code is very, my computer is very able to run unoptimized shitty code. So yeah, I'm gonna stop doing that now. Clean everything up. This requires update. What else? We just need track, but track comes from here, so this actually has no dependency at all. What does this have? It has repeats, it has index of first, it has the queue, it has, what else? Track comes from the argument, so it doesn't have that. And update, that's all. Okay, so this is all looking good. Now the use fetch already has a use callback, so now the big one, this use player, where I basically shoved every complicated function that I have. And this will require a lot of memos and other such nonsense. You repeats. That's it. Oh, so much work. I was really not looking forward to this, but here I am. Fetch is a global, should never change. Track, playing, oh, playing. Audio element is a ref, so again that won't change either. Good. Use callback. What is this? Q. We have. No, that's it. An update. Yeah, Q is really the thing that most of the code looks at to recalculate something in this file. Right, what is this? Yeah, it's a callback. Updates. What is this? Selected element, which is a ref, so that's not going to change. Set mouse X, but that's a state. I don't think I even need to worry about that. That's just set once. Force drag is an argument, right? Yeah, it's an argument, so I don't need to worry about that. Dragging, though, I do need to worry about dragging. And of course, updates. We'll listen to on drag itself. That's it. This is looking at dragging at the track, and it's looking at updates as always. And oh, mouse X as well. This one doesn't look at mouse X, right? It just sets the mouse X. Yeah. Okay, go prev. God, am I almost there? Look at how many functions. God, but I'm almost there because you use callbacks, everything's fine once we get to that point. Q and update as always. Now there's an argument to be made that I don't really need to listen for update all the time because that's a function that I will never change. I define it once in the store and I never change it. But theoretically I could change it. But I actually feel like I shouldn't even bother with adding it. I really actually feel like I don't need to do that. I mean, less code is better, and if I just have this internal rule of never changing the update function itself, which I shouldn't do anyway, like honestly, then this should be fine. Update, comma. Yeah, it's fine, and update this. Yeah, I can remove this too. It's fine. Again, the rule now has to be I cannot change update, right? So in the use store where I define what update is, right, over here, this one, I can never change this from now on. Which is okay, because I never do. But yeah, that's something that if some programmer were to download this code, they wouldn't know that, right? So if they suddenly have this bright idea and they're like, hey, let's change the update function dynamically based on what's happening, then suddenly they're going to find all their callbacks not working properly anymore. But that's okay. Because again, if you're going to make a change, you better know what you're doing. So this is all good. This is all fine. Okay, now we're getting to go next, which is still a callback. I really wasted now a lot of time because of this compiler. Not very happy with that, but yeah, what can you do? Shuffle, current first, payload push, and updates. This is a self-executing function though, that we're gonna change to a memo. Oh. Like every time where I had a memo, I replaced it with a self-executing function, assuming that the React compiler would understand how to memoize that, but it didn't. So let's see, track mouse X, seconds played. That's about it. Full seconds is another use memo. Ah, the last one, guys. Finally. Everyone's probably gone already. Because who would watch a guy rewrite a ton of use memo and use callbacks? But okay, we're here. Shout out to those who are still watching. And played progress. Track.length as well, so that's just track. Okay, there we go. We have everything. Oh no, here, volume is the last one. Use. Dragging and mouse X. Dragging, mouse X. Good. Done. Now we should be clean. Wow, that was a lot of work. Let's see. If we now do npm start, do I still get the endless logging of the menu after I sign in? No, just twice, which is fine. That's great. So this is really good news. Finally, we have solved the performance issue. Now, one thing I find annoying is that the screen is not focusing when it's switching back. That's a little frustrating. And I really thought I added that to the logic. So this sign in, can I say like main window focus? Yeah, now it focuses properly. Good. Very good. Actually, I'm super happy now. This is looking very nice. And we should have the user information now from Google. The one issue with this image from Google now is that I don't think I can always load this. Like the picture I have loaded for the user now in memory, I'm not sure if I can load this. So let's try it out. Let's go to the menu and let's create a. I have the username here. It's not showing anything here. So let's log the user. I think that is simply because I still had the array empty. This needs to have users and the section.user. There. That should give me the user. Now it should show me the name. Do I have to restart? See, if it's already opened, it doesn't seem to do it. It's so weird, right? Like, I don't know why. And also, this text doesn't seem to be there. Let's see. Empty. Empty, empty. So let's see what the users are and what the session is. I want to log everything and see for myself. So yeah, this is gonna log all the time. It's constantly re-rendering. Okay, let's do a use effect just so I can have the logging be right. because I don't want to get spammed into the floor here. Restart this. Great. So, oh, that's weird. Why do we have the email here as part of the users? That's incorrect. That is incorrect. So my API is not doing it correctly. DB users. Where do I set the users? That's in authentication. Ah, here. Should be user ID. Yeah, that's a bit of a nifty one to catch. But that explains a lot, because that's why it wasn't able to find the user. If I now sign in, yeah, again, I had it open already, so apparently that's an issue. Again, I don't understand why, but at least now it finds my name, so that's good. It's my official name. Maybe change that in my Google account. But okay. Let's do some stuff over here. Let's make it as a call. And let's start off with a div that will show my name, yes, but also I'll put that in the span actually. And this span, I'm gonna make it white space no rep, ellipsis, overflow hidden, and width full, and a flex as well, I guess. Item center. And this one will have a grow. And then over here, this will be the little square. So it'll be a, I mean, not, yeah, I guess a rounded LG or something. Or maybe just rounded, even kind of smaller. With a border and a border black, a little bit black. Then the background will be cover. But I'll put the background here, right? So the background color needs to be something also, let's say black 20 or even less, black 10. And then I'm going to put in the background image with style. So background image, and that'll be URL. And then I'll shove in the URL for that I find in user.picture. What's going on? Unexpected token div. Did I forget to end it? Yeah. Oops. Okay, good. That's fine. And now I need to just set the width and the height. So I guess 20 pixels, age 5, width 5. Is that doing anything? It seems to. But yeah, again, now it did not load the actual image. Even though this looks good. Let's go to the styles and see. Open a new tab. It looks good. And it loads properly. Yeah, this is one of those issues. I see this more often and I don't know what to do about it, because this background image, it actually looks fine. It looks like it should be loaded. Maybe it's because I'm not on HTTPS, something like that. Maybe it's because I haven't added it that it is allowed to be loaded. Google user content might have to be added to the security system that I have here. I think default source self. Script image is self or data. Let's ask Gemini to add googleusercontent.com. Please add googleusercontent.com to the following image source. And this is content security, to the following content security policy image source. What? I mean, I could almost do this myself. I just want to know how exactly. Okay. Is it because of the URL that it's like, hey, I'm not going to do this work? Program to assist with that. Man, that is frustrating. Oh, then it's like, absolutely. Yeah, it's the same. So source value. Okay, that's good. You don't have to put anything. You just do a space separated after self. Ugh. I wonder though, does it count as image or does it count as style? Because I mean, it loads it from style, I guess, but let's try this. Let's restart. Image source. Okay, so it's not image. So I thought it was style, but you're right. Because I'm not loading a style. I'm loading an image. I just thought maybe it's looking at the image source specifically, but this should then be okay. Yeah, there it is. Great. So at least it works. We got there in the end. So it's a bit of a roundabout way, but the content security policies is frustrating to deal with for sure. But yeah, security, security, security. So be it. I'm gonna do also a rounded full, and I think I'll remove that border. Let's not do a border. I like this. This looks much better. And then a margin to the right of like 2. Give it some breathing room, and also make this center, item center. So yeah, I'm signed in. It knows who I am. And I added the sign in, sign out button. Oh no, sorry, only the sign in. The sign out button doesn't exist yet. So that's also the next question. How do I sign out? I guess you click on your profile. Something like that. Text is too big. Text. Yes. And also text. Text white 50. 70. Yeah, that's actually 90. Needs to be there, just a little bit softer. That's all we need. Also, this padding at the top is excessive. Let's restart the app. And look at why this one is so. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I have some padding there that I can remove. Py of 2, let's remove that. Yeah, I'm a little bit higher now. Still not as high as I might want to be. That sounds weird. But yeah, that's the way I set it up right now using this. Yeah, I think it's fine. I think maybe I'll actually just increase the margin to the left a little bit, like a little bit more padding from the left. So px4 becomes pr4 with a pl of 5. That should give me a little bit more, put me kind of in the center there. Yeah, fine. It's okay for now. Okay, good. And then for now I'll just put a logout button right down here. Maybe I mean it's a bit, or maybe just a little logout here on the right. Or I should do a drop down button. Let's not worry about this too much right now. Let's just add it in and do that later. So I need a font, so I'm gonna get that from here. Font awesome. And I'm gonna do a FA exit, FA fire exit, FA leave, door. Let's go to font awesome and pick a nice font. Font awesome. Door. Give me a free door. No, that's not good. Exit. Is there a logout button? Is there already something like logout? Oh, here. Right from bracket. Arrow right or right? I think right from bracket is good. Right from bracket. FA right from bracket. And when I click on this, I want to sign out. So how do I do that? I would have to I'll have to set the session on nothing, clear all the data, and Electron needs to know what I'm doing. So I need to get a message out to Electron again. So we're gonna have to do that here. So we say, I think I'll just here have to do a sign out. Sign out. Sign out, sign out. Yeah, that's interesting because now I need to undo what I did here. On before send handlers. The listener will be called with the listener this before sending this. The callback. Wait. What does this return? Web request this. How do I remove it? Add listener, bomb, and then remove listener. So when I say add listener, an Electron web request is not the same. Electron. How can I undo it? Let's see, can I remove existing request headers? I've registered a listener, yeah, but I don't care about the headers. I just want to remove the function itself. Maybe, let me just check it out by clicking on this. Remove on before send headers dot. No. Ouch. How do I remove it? Alright, Gemini, give me your magic. How do I undo? How do I unset the when you initially set up your Omnify listener, store a reference to the function you provide. Use remove if as yeah, but I don't. That's for Chrome. What about Electron? Because I already saw that the API is different. The process to unset this function is similar to what we're using Chrome, but with a few nuances. Oh, yeah. What is the nuance, brother? Oh, it's just remove listener. Okay. And I've put it on just the session. Okay, that's good. That's good. That's fine then. So function sign out. Now I do need to store a reference of this listener that I have over here. So, but that's okay. Listener. Let's see. On before send this, then this is the listener. Man, this thing is massive. Look at how huge this is. And it should be able to be null too, huh? Did I say that? Null or that? Okay, you can be parenthesized if you like. Alright, that was huge. Ah, that doesn't even help that much. I'm just gonna do this. Let listener is that, listener is this. Then I will add that listener here. So that's all good. And then here I'll say listener. Yeah, like I thought. Remove listener doesn't exist. Oh, Gemini is making bullshit up again. As always. Because I didn't see it. So I was like, okay, interesting. Oh my god. Well, maybe just remove all listeners. And then I can still see the event name, so that should also be fine. And then I don't need to do all this trash. That's a lot better. Okay, yeah, I'm fine with this. Good. I hooked up the sign out. It exists. Oh, this is still just a copy paste, which is not what I want. Did I already have a sign out value? That's a little strange. Okay. We're good, we're good, we're good. We can now sign out. But I'm not done yet, because when I click on sign out, I also need to just change memory a little bit while I execute that. So import that on click. So we're going to use the update function to unset everything in memory. Update. We're going to set tracks to nothing, users to nothing, sessions to nothing, and we're going to reset, oh, oops, null, and we're going to set, what's the one I'm missing? Artist to nothing. Later we're going to add playlists to that as well. Unset all of that, and then do the classic Electron function. So we're going to take this, that, import that, and execute with electron.signout. Okay, now the sign out should work. Sign in works, sign out works. Okay, good. We have sign in and we have sign out. So now I will just remove this and do a little bit of stuff on here where I say that the opacity, let's put the opacity nice and low, like 20. If you hover, I'll make the opacity 100. Cursor pointer. There we go. This is all a good start. Yeah, there, that's fine. But now I do feel like it's weird. It doesn't feel centered to me. It's weird, right? It's like boing. It's a lot higher. Why is it not centered? It should be flexing together with everything else. Item center. Okay, so maybe the height is not properly set. That just makes it worse. Still makes it worse. No idea why this is happening. I guess we'll have to put a... Oh, wait, there's a random translate Y that's still in there. Okay, that explains it. And this is fine, I guess. Yeah. It's a bit cryptic. Hey, Roel. Welcome. I'm doing well. I mean, the latest 2 sessions of building this app have been a little slow, I can say. We added some API stuff with sign in with Google, and now I finished the UI part of that. I wish it was going a bit faster, but yeah, we hit some snags, we had some issues. That can happen. No, there's no need. There's no need to give a custom value like that. This looks fine to me. I'm really happy, so you can see the sign-in works. I'm signing in with Google. It's just automatically happening now because I've already done it before in Google, remember? So when you go visit it now, you immediately get that code back and it returns. So that's great, but it shows, before it was like hovering somewhere, what I didn't like. Now it's actually showing a redirect page, which is great. And then here we've now configured the fonts, and yeah, a lot of progress has been actually made now. So looking good, happy with this. So I'm gonna commit this. We've also now undid everything we used to do wrong with the React compiler, which was really sad. I had to remove the React compiler. I was really hoping that that would work. Can I introduce myself? Well, Raoul, I'm just a programmer, and I write TypeScript my whole life. 31 years old. I work in Dubai. Well, I don't work in Dubai. I actually work for freelance for a European company. But yeah, I just work freelancing in Dubai, and I've done a little bit of YouTube stuff 2 years ago. But I didn't push it through. I didn't keep going. I got a bit distracted. But now I feel like I'm gonna go start streaming again. And my goal here is to build a code base that has an Electron app and a Node.js API, and that shows off a lot of stuff about how to do things, how to program using React, using TypeScript. In this case, Tailwind, Rust, and I made a couple of architecture choices. I'm also gonna deploy it on Google. No, I'm not from Dubai, I'm Dutch, but I moved to Dubai 2 years ago. Yeah. So, and I love it, except, yeah, in the summer, what can you do except sit at home in your air conditioning? My weather app told me that the outside temperature from like how it feels to be outside right now is 50 degrees. I think the actual temperature is something somewhere in the 40s. So, yeah, crazy, crazy hot. So I'm gonna just sit inside and stream. That's what I do. Yeah, and I'm gonna show you guys how to, how to build apps, and or at least how I do it, and then answer any questions that viewers might have. And in the end, the stream is a bit of a sideshow because what I'm really trying to do is just build up this code base over here. So if I go to my own app over here, this is what I'm really trying to build, right? This code base. Once I have a completely working app, then I can go and explain things much better and use it as the base. I can build it. Lots. Okay. Well, that's pretty cool. Mr. Robot. I don't know, I watched Mr. Robot, or at least not a lot, but I found it a bit strange. Like I didn't feel it that much, but maybe I just didn't watch enough episodes. Anyway, yeah, I hope to inspire people about the way I program. Like I try to keep the code very small and clean. I try not to use libraries that I don't need, especially on the API side. And I want to also really show a lot more DevOps stuff and working maybe with Amazon or with Google and kind of using their networks and how to use their systems. Because to me, a website that is not in production is just as useless as no website at all. Like I'm not here to just do like a university project and send it to your professor and it's not running in production and it would never be able to be run in production. It's not secure. Like that would be a big problem. So I think the goal here is to make my content should be the difference between what you learn at university versus what you actually are going to do when you are working for a real company building some kind of web platform. And remember, nowadays, like I do with this Electron app, many apps that you think are not websites are actually still websites, like Spotify. Even VS Code itself, this app itself is Electron. So it's very cool to, yeah, no, Cole, you're right. Like, I really don't think college knows what they're doing. But then again, when I went to college, it was, you know, 10 years ago. So maybe they've gotten better in the last decade. But when I went, it was really, really bad. And I also know some students from the Philippines, and I know their curriculum, and it is horrendous. So I feel like if you're a student right now, you're going to be far behind when you come out of university, and to be ready to be hired and get a decent salary, at a normal company, you're going to need a lot more understanding and knowledge and experience that you have not been given by your university at all. And especially now that you can just ask any question to the to Gemini or to what's it called, ChatGPT. You know, I'm going to show you how I am now using apps like this, right? Language models like this to help me do my work. And I'm also going to show you, therefore, what is the problem with these LLMs? When do they make mistakes, right? Because we're going to find out together as you watch my stream when I ask a question. Like, for instance, here, I asked, it's so interesting, right? I asked a question about, I wanted to stop listening to the listener I added before to a session object. Anyway, but first when I asked the question, I wasn't explicit enough. I didn't say Electron. Like, how do I set on before header functions? And it said, oh yeah, I know that, right? It's what web extensions are doing. So it gave me the Chrome example, which is logical that it made that mistake because it, you know, I didn't explicitly mention it, even though I believe I was talking about Electron before in the chat, but it forgot that, and that's not too crazy. I should have been, so I said, what about Electron? And then like, okay, yeah, it's also possible here, but it's slightly different, a few nuances, right? But then you look at this code and you realize that like this thing doesn't exist. This doesn't exist. Like, it just made this up. So funny, but yeah, when I'm coding, when I'm programming, suddenly I realize like, yeah, this is nonsense. So yeah, that, and I guess that's the thing, right? Like, university programs are not going to be adding Gemini to their curriculum, right? Yeah, I'm curious what they're doing over at India. I have no idea. I know that half of Dubai is Indian, and then another half is Pakistani. Ah, that's not true. It's like 30% Indian, 20% Pakistani, and 50% Filipino. Yeah, Stack Overflow is good, although I don't know. I used to be, for a while, I was also chasing points on Stack Overflow, trying to give the right answers, trying to get my profile up. But that, yeah, it quickly gets old, and you don't earn anything from it and stuff. So I nowadays feel like actually GitHub issue trackers are usually the best places to find real solutions. But of course, Stack Overflow still has its place, and Gemini definitely has its place, especially if you know exactly what you're looking for and you know what the correct answer would look like. You just don't feel like typing it out, right? So I definitely think apps like Gemini are really good for programmers because it's gonna make you much, much faster. So yeah, I'm a big fan. Let's commit this, by the way. So this was feature stream 7. Let's double check if I am on stream 7. No, stream 5, I guess. Commits, where's my commits? Oops. Stream 6, feed stream 6, yeah. Okay, this is the one. Yeah, of course. I have quite some experience. I started programming when I was like 10. Um, at 13, I remember having my first customer, and in the municipality where I lived, and I went to the client's house, and I can imagine he was a photographer. He wanted a website, and imagine you're a photographer, you want a website, and this 13-year-old boy just comes in and says, "Yes, sir, I can build your website for you, sir." So yeah, I did that, and then and at 16 I went to like a real company and I started to do real web development. What do you think about the so-called high-performance desktop frameworks like Tauri? Never, never heard of Tauri. So I mean, look, guys, there's a million ways to program, right? So I'm not against anything in specific. Like I've no. Let's see, Towery. Yeah, so the same as Electron. Oh, built on Rust. Yeah, on Rust, but that's, I mean, I'm also using Rust to build my stuff right now. So using the Vita Rust SWC. But what is it running on? TypeScript, yeah, of course. Yeah, okay, so it's really like Electron. When will I do the next stream? I don't know. Oh wait, Tower 2.0 has launched relatively recently. I'm gonna stick to Electron for now because I'm happy with it, but I'm sure there's gonna be more options to build things in different ways. Yeah, I think I'll probably maybe tomorrow again. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure yet. Usually in evenings though, between well, Dubai time, 5 to 7, 2 hours, something like after work usually. But yeah, you'll see me pop up here and there. My streams are saved, so that way you can also rewatch. If I so please subscribe if you wish to follow my content, get the notifications. It helps me a lot. I'm trying to grow the channel. I'm trying to do something more useful. I'm not sure yet in what direction I want to take the stream itself because the code I want to get the code ready in a good place with for the app, for the music app. But then afterwards I might want to start multiple like smaller apps that are easier to understand, easier to copy. This is kind of my example of like, what if you want an app that does everything? It is a server side, it has a client side, it has all kinds of weird features and complicated types. Because you can already see that we've gotten quite some. We got tracks, artist, and playlist, and users and sessions. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 core data types. I'm also going to add playlists. So oh no, wait, playlists already here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That really are the core of what the database will store. And then these are kind of derivatives values that I need either for the UI or for the API. And one global state for the UI here, state. So yeah, this is starting to look more and more like a real app. And but it's gonna really grow a lot more. I'm gonna do like uploads, and I'm gonna put like a social system in there where you can add friends and maybe follow people. Then I'm thinking about even adding in some kind of artificial intelligence stuff, like a little bit of analysis, maybe some audio analysis, stuff like this, because it's like an audio app, right? So I might allow people to record their voice and like sing to songs and then store that, analyze it, recommend maybe what you want to hear, things like this. I'm going to put all kinds of crazy features in there using, of course, systems that I can use from Google or from some other place. I've implemented Llama before, but you know, I don't want to really spend a lot of money hosting something like an LLM myself. I'd rather just then use the Gemini API, which is I think even more powerful and cheaper. So I'm gonna find a way to do things kind of as cheap as possible, but a little bit of money I'm willing to put in, of course. But by the way, guys, obviously YouTube doesn't give me any money, right? Like this, I'm streaming, but I'm not a big streamer or anything. I'm still trying to build my way up to there, and it's gonna take a while. And in fact, maybe I'll never reach it because the amount of people that are interested in this kind of content, I think, is relatively limited. And also, to be honest, I have barely started to improve the stream and make it something that people really want to go and see. So that's really my journey on how to do that. And I'm very curious because I kind of want to actually aim for more like the meteor, or like people are already working, not necessarily students. I think if you're still a student, um, yeah, I want my content to be a little bit more difficult, and I don't want to have to explain, oh yeah, this is a string, like, come on guys, like I don't want to keep explaining the absolute basics. And I also think it's more inspirational for a student if you can see what all this base understanding, like if you're learning what a for loop is at school, then I don't want to teach that myself here, right? I want to kind of tell you that I never write for loops because they're not functional enough, right? It's not the way I like to write my code. And then you might be like, wait a minute, I just spent weeks learning how a for loop works, and you're telling me you never write a for loop. What's going on? Like, why? It's so I want to kind of do that second layer, that next level of how it works in practice. And also I want to focus on speed. I want to make everyone who follows me here to understand how to build things quickly. Like that to me is way more important. Um, Maybe I'll even do like a speed run eventually. When I'm done with this app, maybe I'll say like, okay, let's make a new app, make up some way it works, and then try to do it as fast as possible. Like that could be the fastest, that could be the funniest thing to do. Like how do you build an application fast? Because the thing is, I am really interested in the business side of software development. Like how are you a software developer in a business, maybe even your own business, and you're trying to spend the least amount of money and the least amount of time and get the most amount of features and build everything as fast as you can. That would be the most interesting thing to do, right? So you could literally build your own company with your own business idea on an app, because I really feel like writing a good app for business is much more about how long it takes than about how secure it is, or about, because security issues, over time, by the time that your app is interesting enough to be hacked and to get into trouble if you get hacked, by that time you can probably already hire like a couple of security guys and analyze all the code base and rewrite it in a proper way. So that's not really your goal if you're just starting out and writing an app from scratch, right? For your own company. Usually you can get away with hosting everything maybe on like a private network, so you don't even have to worry about getting hacked. Maybe something like that, something simple. Or in my case, for instance, I don't have to configure HTTPS in my server because I'm going to be hosting this on Google Cloud Run that puts HTTPS SSL security around it itself already. So that's really interesting. Although I do also want to still do a stream where I specifically talk about security, because I really, for instance, love like how's called public-private keys, and like doing that not just by just putting SSL over your connections, but also additionally maybe generating a public-private key in my Electron app, right, and sending the public key to my server and doing another layer of encryption just for fun, right? Like I was thinking about doing that, something like that too. That could be really interesting and really enjoyable, just to kind of play around with encryption and try to make things harder to hack, mitigate some more attacks. But right now speed is more my focus. Okay, well, that was this stream. Thank you, everyone. Again, we're going a bit slow in the last two streams. I'm gonna try to maybe speed that up. But yeah, then again, as we will find more, or as we will keep pushing more into more and more features, and find out that previous work in previous streams did not go so well, I need to fix that, like we did today with the Electron version that had to get stripped out, like sorry, the latest React version. I had to revert that from 19 back to the stable release of 18 because the React compiler was not working as I wanted to. That's very sad, but that can happen. So so that took a lot of time today. And then I also took a lot of time just chatting to you guys, just talking about nonsense. So not exactly the most efficient stream. But if you have any suggestions on how the stream can be improved and or what kind of understanding you would like to get from watching this, or maybe you're sitting here and you're thinking, you know, I don't need any understanding, I just want to see you work as hard as possible and see what you can do within X amount of time, and that would be the more interesting thing for me to see. Some people watch YouTube videos not really to learn something, but more to just enjoy, and I get that. So if that's the case for you, just let me know and I'll try to make it entertaining in that way. You know what I mean? So yeah, we're gonna figure it out. But again, thank you very much for watching. I'll probably be back tomorrow. If not, I'll probably be back the day after. And yeah, have a good day, everyone.